Hey, yo, what up, everybody? This is Joel, Boast, whatever the fuck you want to call me. This is out of nowhere. It's been 5 years, but I recently got back into doing some Pokemon Draft Leagues. I did a couple of them at the end of 2023. Just randomly joined a couple at the beginning of this year, and I figured, you know what, fuck it. I always enjoyed doing these commentaries and all this kind of recap and all that just general uploading of draft leagues, and figured, why the hell not get back into it? Actually have more time and just more of an ambition to actually do this stuff now. So I figured, why the hell not get back into it? For any of those who are curious and don't know what a draft league is very simple. It is as I said, league where, depending upon the amount of people, usually about 12 to 16 coaches take turns at any draft based off of normally points. And draft an entire team of Pokemon that they have access to that no one else does. You have a season where every week you play a different coach, and you know each other's teams, and you just build off of that. And it is honestly the most fun way of playing Pokemon, in my opinion. The creativity that you can get of this is so much fun when you're not having to try to make a team for what is it now, 1,020 or something like that Pokemon, but instead 10 to 11. It's just enjoyable as hell. So figured, why not just get back right into it. This is going to be a little recap of the draft of my team, because it's nice to know what I have if you're going to spend the next 8+ weeks, hopefully, with me each week with these battles. It is an 8-week long season, and then playoffs after that, which hopefully I make. We're kind of 50-50 on that. When I joined 2 at the end of 2023, like I said, and I made it half the time. So I'm hoping to continue to do that. I had the second pick in the PDL, the Paldea Draft League, as you can see up in the top right-hand corner. I actually joined this league the night before the draft. This is a Wi-Fi league too, which is, I've only ever tried one in the past, and that fell apart after like 3 weeks, and it was fun, but that was back in a time when draft leagues tended to fall apart within the first month. Nowadays, it seems like they're much more consistent, which is great. Like I said, second pick, which is great. I knew Dragon Ball's 1-1, and I got to choose between 2 things I wanted to try that came out recently, new second part of the DLC, being Iron Boulder and Gorging Fire. As you can see right now, I've taken Iron Boulder. Gorging Fire seems fun. It seems like it's going to be great, but it also seems like it's going to kind of default into defense a lot. And my first pick, especially top, 3 or 4, I always want to go purely offensive. And that's what this thing is, I can tell. 124 base speed is incredible. Really, the only things that outspeed it that A, you're going to see in Draft League, and B, that are actually useful, are things like, Reggie, like, he's there, but no one really drafts it because without Terra, it's shit, and with Terra, it's broken. But like, you're looking at like Hisuian, Electrode, Dragapult, Iron Bundle, under Iron Bundle is one of them, but you're gonna miss. Nope. What the fuck is that move called? Not Hyper Wheel. Wow, this is Hydro Pump. You're gonna miss Hydro Pump 90% of the time. I don't make the rules; it just happens. Jolteon, and then things like Darkrai, which, like, the only thing that actually scares me a little bit is Darkrai, not Darkrai, Weavile, and Darkrai a little bit too, because they're the only things that can hit me for super effective damage and actually put a hurting on, while the other ones are kind of more just speed based, and a lot of them are actually especially attacking, which is great because 108 base Spadef and 90 HP is actually not bad at all for what should be kind of a glass cannon. 120 base attack, very, very good. It has a couple of things, like the fact that it has the best rock stab, physical stab move in the game with its new Hyper Cleave ability. Mighty Cleave, struggling. Mighty Cleave move, being what, base 95 base power with the fact that it doesn't miss is what makes it so good. And as a rock and psychic type, it has Zen Headbutt, Psycho Cut as well. and it has the coverage moves it needs to with like close combat and earthquake, even sacred sword, a little bit of wild charge, and like poison jab and stuff. But like the big things that are going to be able to wall this thing are going to be steel types normally, just because rock and psychic are resisted by both, which is why I was thinking about something I wanted to pair this with. I kind of wanted to pair it with something that's the exact opposite of physically attacking and fast, which is bulky and special attacking. And I honestly didn't think this mod would get to my second pick. I should say I was number 2 in 16. So I had 28 picks between my number 1 pick and my number 2 pick. And that kind of happened after every 2. But the nice thing was I got 2 out of the next 4. But it really is hard to see what you're going to gauge what you're going to get. And then second pick, Ursaluna Blood Moon might be my new favorite Pokemon. This thing is just disgusting looking. It is a gigantic earth bear with it's just in game. Like this little sprite for it isn't doing justice. Look up a picture of it in game, and this thing just looks like an almost zombified bear of mud, and just it's so cool. I love it so much. Not to mention the fact that 135 base special attack is incredible. You combine that with the fact that it has 113. That's all. If you hear the clicking on my keyboard, I'm just bringing up information about it so I know it. 113 base HP combined with 120 defense. It's just fucking bulky. Like it is I think pretty much better than normal Ursaluna. Combine that with Mind's Eye, which means it's gonna hit ghost types with its with its normal and fighting moves, which is great because that's normally a very easy switch into normal type stab, is just bringing a ghost, can't do anything. And for the fact that its other easy switch-ins are going to be rock and steel types, and it's a normal ground type, so predict it. Go ahead and try to make that prediction of me just going for a normal type move, and also if I catch you with that earth power, like you're just fucked. This thing hits so hard. It doesn't have the greatest coverage, but it has what it needs to. Like the main moves it's gonna run are Hyper Voice and Blood Moon, which is an insane 140 base power special attack that never misses. I just can't use it twice in a row. That's fine. But it has like Moon Blast, Vacuum Wave, which gives it priority, which is great when, you know, a Blood Moon's gonna do 90%. You have the last 10, and then you can just priority take it out. I had this thing in one of my other leagues at the end of last year, and that's exactly what it did a lot of the time. Was it came very close to OHKOing, and then just got cleaned up with priority Vacuum Wave. But I think it also has, I feel like there's another, I know it has like a Moonlight and Calm Mind as well, which sounds disgusting. The fact that I can reliably heal up and then also have a way to hit fighting types with Moon Blast. Why do I think there was another priority or another coverage move? Focus Blast, which it's fine. Like it's gonna hit. There's no point in me running like steel types, rock types. I have stab earth powers for those, so that's just kind of pointless to have. It's also like they're one of my favorite mons. I love this thing. I'm so excited to use it. So at this point, like I said, I had number 2 pick, had to wait 20 till I got this, and then luckily I only had to wait 1 turn of 2 picks so I can get my next one, which is great because right now I'm sitting with a pretty heavy grass and water weakness, which I am looking to cover up immediately when I grab Skarmory. I needed defense after going fully offensive with my first 2, which is the nice thing about having a pick so close to a turn, is I can play a little more aggressive with my first pick, knowing the second one has a insanely good chance of it being there. 65 HP isn't great, but that 140 defense and 70 special defense is, in my opinion, really good because I can focus mainly on Spadef with it and let that natural 140 defense kind of do its thing. Not to mention, Steel and Flying type is really good. It's not as good as Corviknight. Corviknight, unfortunately, was picked. This thing was a little cheaper, but excuse me. But the fact that it kind of gets the moves I needed to. Has the ability to set up hazards with spikes and stealth rocks. Body press is such a consistent move, which is a move that does damage based off its defense instead of its attack stat, which attack stat isn't bad at 80, but 140 is much better. And the fact that it has iron defense, which almost turns into a sword stance to get +2 defense and then fire off even stronger body presses. It has Brave Bird. It did lose a defog. Did it have defog in the previous generation? I thought it did. It did, yeah. So it lost defog, unfortunately, but you know, sometimes you gotta. A lot of things lost defog, so hazard removal became very important in Draft League. With a lot of things losing, but I even have things like Taunt, Tailwind for support as well. Roar if I need to phase things out after setting up Stealth Rocks. Like I don't know. I felt like this thing was what I needed. It covered, like I said, those two, especially the Water Grass weakness, because both of my attacking mons being weak to that is a killer. Let me fuck it up because I believe it only has two. Why am I blanking? Two weaknesses as well, pretty much being holy shit, fire and electric. Let me check to make sure. Yeah, that's it. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 resistances, 2 immunities. Like this thing as a defensive typing is very, very good. After this, like I said, another 28 picks. Had to wait a while. And there was something that was sitting there left that I kind of felt like it was. I had to take it. I had to. It seems fun. A. B. It's water absorb. 3. It's a new mon I haven't gotten to use yet in League. That being Ogre Pond Wellspring. Downside of it has to run Wellspring Mask. But the fact that I have water absorb, which means that I'm going to be able to easily switch on bulky waters. For the most part, obviously they could set up toxins and stuff like that. But that is completely fine. Water grass typing. It's not the best. It's not the worst though. It's pretty solid because it kind of gives me a naturally defensive typing base to go with my naturally offensive spread of stats, being 120 base power as well. I went for attack and 110 speed, which is kind of I needed that step below. Iron Boulder. I really hope I said Iron Boulder at the beginning of this now. Now I feel like I said Iron Bundle. That's not good. Yeah, it'll be fine. If I said at the beginning, I'm a dumbass. And above that 100 to like 105 benchmark that normally a lot of things hit. It is just super reliable. Ivy Cudgel, being a water type, is great. I have access to Sword Stance. It even could be a little bit utility based with like a fast taunter or encore or something's trying to set up. The fact that I can reliably gain back HP with Horn Leech or just fire off like a Wood Hammer or Power Whip and just try to do as much damage as I can. If I really need to set up some more speed to get access or just to get above something with Trailblaze as an option, I got Knockoff, U-Turn, Play Rough, Low Kick, Super Power. Like those are all solid coverage moves that help this thing a lot. And I have Synthesis to heal up naturally as well if I, kind of go more defensive with it. And then Spiky Shield as well. It's protecting is very, very niche in draft leagues because outside of VGC, like it's really not used often, unless you're running like Wish Pass, or not even Wish Pass, just Wish Protect to heal up constantly with like a defensive mon. But after that, excuse me, I just really want to try things out. This thing looks super fun. I love the design of Ogre Pond as well, and it's 4 different variations with their masks. Honestly, I think they did a great job with this mod. I love this thing as well. So I got the next pick after that. So this league is low tier Terra. So I think it was after 8. Basically, the points ranged from 1 to 19, I think was the most for the best things. And I believe it was 8 and below were able to be Terra captains. with 3 Terra types, including stab and then 2 other typings that aren't stab. And if they were Terras, they costed a little more than they normally would. I wanted to get something Terra early because I knew I would have to wait a decent amount, and having a good Terra type is very key in draft leagues. Like those things can just make a team much more deadly, just from the fact that it has access to two other really, um, 2 other types and the ability to run stab on them. Normally, I like to run like the last couple leagues I'm in. Like Jolteon's been a great Terra captain for me. It's fast as hell, hits hard as hell, and then giving it access to like grass, water, or ice Terra to deal with ground types is what it needs. But I wanted to take it in a different direction this time. I drafted slow and bulky. I have speed on my team already. Speed's not an issue. I wanted more bulk, and I wanted something that I have dealt with in the past that is just super annoying. I've gone with Belly Bolt. First of all, this thing is so just doofy looking. I love this thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know are those things on the outside his eyes, or is that smiley face his face? I know it sounds stupid, but those look like eyes on the outside of his head. I don't know. I love it. It is a fab blob of electric energy, with 109 base HP, which is beautiful, and a very solid 9183 in defense, special defense. And the fact that it also has 103 special attack is fucking awesome. Because this thing I've fought against it before. It just sits. It has reliable recovery, with slack off, which the fact that it gets that is just, it makes it so much more annoying when you combine it with, especially Terra Fairy, because there's only 2 weaknesses to Fairy, and they're both kind of uncommon, being Steel and Poison. I run Grass as well. That's there to cover the ground weakness. It has had to go Electric. It has honestly 2 kind of really good abilities, not really good abilities, but 2 plus abilities. Static, being able to paralyze anything that does physical damage to it can be a game changer. Just, me switching this thing in to take a U-turn, then staticking something like its Fast Sweeper, or like a Cinderace, that'd be amazing. It puts it behind the 8 ball, and that can change games. And Electromorphosis, being able to set up a charge every time it takes, I believe, is it damage or just physical damage? Let me check. When it takes a hit from an attack, which charge is fine. I think it helps special defense, but the big thing is its next electric move is double in power, which is just nutty. The fact that like this thing gets a slow volt turn. If you U-turn into me trying to get momentum and I volt switch out, that's now 140 base power volt switch with 103 base special attack. Like, this thing can do damage. And I know I said slacks off, great for reliable recovery, but it also has parabolic charge, which does recover damage, and it's basically a 65 base power Giga Drain, but electric is somehow even more annoying to deal with, because even when it's doing damage to you, it's healing up and just sitting there and being annoying. It doesn't have the greatest coverage moves. Like I think Muddy Water, Chilling Water, and I think Water Pulse are kind of its only coverage moves. Is there anything else? It gets like Mud Slap or Mud Shot, which is It has Hyper Voice, which is kind of cool, but doesn't really help that much. But letting it be, Terra Grass, Terra Fairy is going to help out with that a lot. Especially with Terra Fairy. I think most of the time it's going to be Terra Fairy, just because that is it's such a great type to have, and having something this bulky be Terra or be a Fairy type with easily reliable recovery is going to help out tremendously. That being said, moved on. Like I said, at this point I had to wait another while after that, and I needed some form of hazard removal here because the picks were getting slim, and I needed something, and I wanted something that was was kind of comfortable with and that I know could do the job. Um, oh, I mixed up my order. Before I took hazard removal, I took Screamtail. Screamtail seems so good as a utility support defensive mod. I had a whole spiel planned for this. This thing is every type of support you'd want. This thing gets screens, gets both of them. You want it to wish pass, it's going to do that. But not only is it going to do that, it's going to do that with 115 base HP, which means it's going to heal up. I don't know the amount. I probably should look that up. But it's going to heal up a good fucking chunk. And we can't even pass non-stats, but we can pass for momentum and wishes, which means I can set up a wish, pass it into something like Ursaluna, let it shrug off the damage, heal it all back up, and I essentially got a free switch in for nothing, which is exactly what I want. It even has super fast encores and taunts. 111 base speed for a support mon can be super nasty, just because it even gets trick and potentially trick room, which I could trick room, and then because it's so fast, get off a slow baton pass into like Ursaluna or Bellybolt, which is just nutty. Does it get? I actually didn't think about this. Does it get electric train? Ah, shit! I was hoping it would for Iron Boulder, but it has offensively. 65-65 is not good, not the good, but it has the moves it would need to. Things like Flamethrower, Dazzling Gleam. Even gets, I think, Synchronoise. No, Synchronoise. What is that called now? The new Psychic Noise, which prevents it from healing. It gets the weather conditions. It gets Stealth Rocks. T-Wave as well. Like, this thing just seems like it's... I think it was worth 11 points. I can check that quick. Yeah, it was worth 11 points, and I feel like it is one of the better 11 points mon in Draft League, and the fact that it's 11 point mon with this level of support is nasty. But after the couple times, then I needed hazard removal. I took him on top. I thought that I mixed it up on my document. I've used this thing before in the past, and it is okay. It's not the best. I would have liked to get a better spinner, but I didn't. There are things I prioritize above it, which might be an issue. I'm going to be honest with you right now, this is my only form of hazard removal, which might be changing after week 1 or 2. So yeah, in case you don't know, I just dropped the pen. You can drop mons and pick up new ones, which is great. I can even change my terror types and terror captains. not even 150, just 50 base HP does kind of concern me a little bit. But the fact that it has 110 special defense is fantastic, and then 95 defense is good, but it's even better when you combine it with Intimidate, which is one of its main reasons it's out there. This is gonna give me an Intimidator plus Rapid Spinner to get rid of hazards. Gives me a solid fighting type. It's not gonna be the best. It does have things like close combat and Drain Punch, which are kind of the two main fighting type stabs you're gonna use. The coverage is there, but I think the one thing that does make this thing a little bit better in my eyes is the fact that you combine Technician, which boosts, I think it's under 60 or 16 below. Yeah. Power moves increased by 1.5, so you get extra damage, and it does have the 3 best forms of priority damage being Mock Punch, which is stab, Sucker Punch, which is going to hit Ghost and Psychic types, and Bullet Punch, which is going to hit fairies. It has that ability to kind of do a little bit of damage you need, and a 95 base attack, that's not awful, especially when people try to tell you that Mew is really good and Mew is offensive. At 100, it's not. It is very solid, and I think one thing that kind of gets underlooked with him on top is 2 moves that combine with Technician very, very well. That being Triple Axle and Triple Kick. They both hit 3 times. Um, 90 accuracy isn't the best, and the base power, quote unquote, is 20 and 10 respectively. But each turn they get more powerful. So you're gonna get, essentially 30 base power into, is it double? I forget, but it's still gonna like increase each time. So you're gonna get extra 20-30% off of damage off of just ignition boosted well. That being said, like I said, intimidate and route spin are kind of the main things that do well with it. So next pick, I feel like I probably fucked this up too. I feel like I switched all of them now. I'm gonna see what my next pick is, because honestly I forget what it was. I know it was Zoroark. Main reason I wanted Zoroark here is it gives me a clean psychic switch in, which I know I have like Skarmory, which kind of is a super easy switch in, and psychic types don't have a big issue, but this allows me to give me some dark stab. 105 base speed is a speed tier I was lacking at this point, because I had 124, 111, 110, and then below that at this point my next one was 70, so I needed to kind of, my last picks, fill up that little gap between 70 and 110, and this was in a sweet spot. I was also lacking a little bit of special offense on my team outside of Ursaluna. Everything Belly Bolt 2 as well, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Was there, but for 8 points, this thing is going to be. This is something you have to kind of have a plan for if it comes. Its ability Illusion, which you don't know, is the Pokemon appears as the last Pokemon of the party until it takes damage. So that's an issue. Where if I lead off with like Hitmontop and then they try to just gain the offensive right away and hit me with a psychic, if they have out there like a I'm blanking on psychic types. Gardevoir, no it's not. I don't think it's in the game, but if they wanted to, the fact that this thing is going to show up and be able to take nothing because it's actually a Zoroark is fantastic. It's going to give you solid priority, not priority. Priority was Sucker Punch, but U-turn, being able to get out, cause chaos, be a fast taunter, be able to just fire off, potentially nasty plots just to boost right away if they predict that it is not Zoroark when it actually is. With some, just blanking Dark Pulses. You can run physical because like 105 base attack isn't bad at all. Does it get? I don't know if it gets access to Sword Stance though, which is one thing that would like. It does not. No, it does. Oh, awesome. Which is even better because like this thing is just one of those one of those mons that prioritizes setting up and just doing a shit ton of damage with Specs or Scarf, and just causing chaos. And bringing Zoroark to games can help you win just because it adds an extra layer of second guessing, which helps out when you are on the aggressive side of things, which is what I try to be when I play. It's one thing I've never used, but I want to try so badly. I want to have so much fun with it. After that, there was one. I kind of have, like, I have the other. Not yet. Not fully. I'm blacking on both of the two trios that you try to normally get, which is Fire, Water, Grass, and Steel, Fairy, Dragon. So I wanted to get a Fire type, and I went with Arcanine. One, he's a good boy. Look at the little good boy. I love him so much. He's so handsome. He's such a cool fucking dog. And another Intimidator, a Flash Fire user, which is great because I needed something that could take on fire types, because like Iron Boulder could be a rock type, but I wanted something a little safer to switch into for Skarmory and be able to still withstand hits. Rocky, 90 HP into 80 defense isn't this thing doesn't excel in most things. Like 110, 100 special attack are great. 95 speed's a little low, so it's not a fully offensive. Like it's just on the verge of being both really good and kind of bad in both offensive and defenses. but giving it priority, the best priority in the game being um, extreme speed, helps out so much as well. It's gonna give me a Willow Whisper, which is fantastic. I am not the biggest fan of running Flare Blitz, which is why originally I was hesitant to get Gorging Fire, because its main fire type stab was gonna have to be kind of Flare Blitz or Heat Crash, which isn't the best. Um, but this thing is able to do enough damage to be able to help my kind of end game sweepers that I kind of have at this point with like Iron Boulder and Ogerpon. That this thing's gonna be able to withstand a couple hits, potentially burn something that's physically attacking, and then be able to help pave the way, I should say, for my late game sweepers to come in and kind of do its thing. I wasn't the biggest fan of this pick, but I liked it a lot. To be fair, because I had so much time between all my picks, I never had to worry about not being awake for them, because this draft takes multiple days. And this was the one time I didn't plan ahead of time what I wanted before I went to bed, just in case. And then I woke up at 6 a.m. and was like, oh shit, my picks are up. And then I was like, all right, I'm just going to take Zoroark. That was my plan all along. I'll have at least, probably an hour or two to look at my other ones. Nope, the guy who picked in between my two picks picked almost immediately. So I panic picked this one kind of. But I think I can use it somewhat well. That being said, it comes around then to my last two picks. I wanted to have some fun. This is a mon that I feel like could be either shit or pretty good, especially for the 10 points it's worth. Drago, however you want to say it. It seems super hit and miss, but I'm so interested in it. Like 100 base attacks isn't the best, right? Like we all know that. Like that's not a well-kept secret. But when you combine that with Dragon's Maul, which increases dragon type moves by 1.5 naturally, and then if you combine that with things like, I don't know, choice specs on a Draco Meteor, this thing is punching holes in the walls if there's no fairy or the fairy type's gone. The fact that it also gets things like Dragon Dance and Scale Shot to help boost its offensive and speed, which like 80 is slow, but 200 base HP is fucking bonkers. Is it top 5 in HP? Oh, it's the third highest HP behind Blissey and Chansey, which suck. So like, what is like viable? Like this thing is clearly the best with the highest HP. It has no coverage, really at all. It has like Earthquake and Earth Power, which are okay. I can hit Steel types that are going to switch into this. But like, there's no fairy hits that are gonna do like super effective damage. I guess like Ice Fang could work, maybe. This thing clearly can't be a Terra Captain, because with it would be broken. You give it Steel, and now there's no switch-ins to it, especially if you start setting up Dragon Dances. I'm super excited for this because I feel like I just this thing seems fun as hell. I could have gone a different route, kind of more safer route, but like screw it. I might be making those moves shortly in the season after and see how this team plays out. But right now, like, I'm just ramped up to try this thing. And then my last pick, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I have 3 points left. Nothing I was going to get was going to be very good. That being said, I have developed a little bit of a ground weakness. Being that Iron Boulder, Belly Bolt, and Arcanine are all weak to it, and at this point I have 1 resistance and immunity, which isn't the worst, but I wanted something to kind of shore that up as well. So I wanted to take a rest. I wanted to finish off that trio, the Fire, Water, Grass core. So I should have looked up how to pronounce this. Arbolivia, you see it. This is my other Terra Captain for now. This one I actually got to choose between the types for its stab. I chose normal because I felt like why would I don't gain much if I tear grass. Like at least here I lose a bunch of weaknesses and I gain, I keep my immunity to ghost. Um, excuse me. And then water poison as well. Just kind of be bulky water, take some fire moves. Poison. I didn't have a poison type at this point, so it's kind of my grounded poison type slash like potential fairy check because 125 special attack is nothing to sneeze at. This thing also gains 109 spadef. This thing could be kind of anything with harvest can be annoying. Harvest is an ability that allows you to, I think it gives you, let me check because I forget the exact total. I have a 50% chance to restore a berry if I have eaten it, and 100% sun, which means if I use the citrus berry, I fall below half, I gain that 25% back. I have a 50% chance to just consume it, gain it back, and the next time I fall down below, I eat it again. And like it's one of those, combine that with the fact that it's a grass type and it has reliable recovery. I believe it gets synthesis. I believe it gets leech seed as well. Let me make sure. Yeah, like I can set up screens. I can do a little bit of damage. Honestly, it's kind of there as I needed a grass type. I needed another terror, and I said, screw it. Why the hell not? I don't see this thing coming very often. If we're gonna be honest with you, Arcanine, this thing, and Regidrago are probably on the chopping block first of what is gonna get cut and picked up. But I've been talking here for about 40 minutes, so that's it. This is the team. I'm probably gonna be uploading all the battles on Monday, because at the weekend Sunday, so that way I have plenty of time to make sure that if I need to do any editing or anything like that, I can do that very easily. They're all gonna be hopefully be live. I'm super excited to get back into this. I love doing this uploading shit, and I'm just super excited for it. So thank you for watching. Subscribe, stick tuned, and we'll see how this season unfolds as a group, I guess. And thank you so much. Have a nice day. Peace.